Hello everyone. In the current session, we will be discussing about part 1 of antiarrhythmic drugs. And here we will be focusing on the overall classification of antiarrhythmic drugs, and we will have a special focus on class 1 of antiarrhythmic drugs, which are nothing but sodium channel blockers. Coming to the overall classification of antiarrhythmic drugs. The antiarrhythmic drugs are mainly categorized into 4 classes: Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 and Class 4. There is also a miscellaneous classification. Coming to Class 1, they are sodium channel blockers and are also called as membrane stabilizing agents. They are further subcategorized into 3 subclasses. They are 1A, 1B and 1C. And the drugs which come under Class 1A of antiarrhythmic drugs are quinidine, procainamide and disopyramide. And the examples of class 1B drugs are lidocaine and mexiletine. Coming to class 1C, the example of drugs are propofol and flecainide. Next, class 2 drugs, they are antiadrenergic drugs. Examples are propranolol and esmolol. Coming to class 3 drugs, they are action potential widening agents. Examples are amiodarone, dronidarone, sotalol, dofetilide and butyllitide. Coming to class 4, they are calcium channel blockers. Examples are verapamil and diltiazem. The miscellaneous drugs are drugs which are used for paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. Example are adenosine and digoxin. Next, drugs which are used for AV block, they are atropine. Coming to class 1 of antiarrhythmic drugs. They are sodium channel blockers, and the class 1 drugs are further categorized into 3 subclasses as we have discussed earlier. They are class 1A, 1B and 1C. And these are the various examples. Quinidine, procainamide and disopyramide come under class 1A, and examples of class 1B are lidocaine and mexiletine, and 1C are propofol, flecainide and encainide. So, the class 1A drugs are further classified based on their effect on the decrease of rate of depolarization of phase 0. How they are going to affect the rate of depolarization of phase 0, based on that they are categorized into three subclasses. Coming to class 1A, they moderately decrease the rate of depolarization of phase 0 of action potential. Coming to 1B, they have a little decrease or little effect on the rate of depolarization. Coming to 1C, they show a marked decrease in the rate of depolarization of phase 0. Additionally, how they act on the sodium channel is also important. When it comes to class 1A, they act on open state of sodium channels and won't act on the resting state. We all know that sodium channel can exist in 3 states: open, resting and inactivated state. When it comes to class 1A drugs, they act on the open state of sodium channels and won't act on the resting state. And one more additional feature of 1A drugs is they prolong the depolarization due to potassium channel block. Coming to 1B drugs, they have a little decrease in the rate of depolarization of phase 0. They block the sodium channels more in the inactivated state than the open state. This is an important point. Class 1B drugs, they block the sodium channels more in the inactivated state than the open state. Now coming to 1C, they show a marked decrease in the rate of depolarization of phase 0. And they are the most potent sodium channel blockers, and they act on open state channels, and they have the longest recovery time. Coming to class 1, as we have discussed, they act on the rate of depolarization of phase 0. So, whenever an adequate stimuli is received, the sodium channels open and the sodium enters into the cell. This results in rapid depolarization. And these drugs they decrease the slope of phase 0. This is also an important point. Class 1 of antiarrhythmic drugs, they decrease the slope of phase 0 and they exhibit a phenomena called as use-dependent blockade. These drugs, they exhibit a phenomenon called as use-dependent blockade. That is, more frequently the sodium channels are activated, greater will be the blockage. Let us discuss further. Mostly the class 1 drugs, they show local anesthetic action and they interfere with the activity of sodium channels as we have discussed earlier. And they act as sodium channel blockers by binding to the sites on alpha subunit. These class 1 drugs, they act as sodium channel blockers by binding to sites on the alpha subunit of the sodium channel. They limit the conductance of sodium and potassium across the cell membrane and they inhibit the action potential propagation in many excitable cells. As they inhibit the propagation of action potential, they are also called as membrane stabilizing agents. The characteristic effect of class 1 drugs on action potential is to reduce the maximum rate of depolarization during phase 0. As we have discussed earlier, they exhibit a use-dependent blockade. That is, they block high-frequency excitation of the myocardium that occurs in the tachyarrhythmias without preventing the heart from beating normal rhythm. Class 1 drugs, they block the high-frequency excitation of the myocardium without preventing the heart from beating normal rhythm. So what is use-dependent blockade? As we have discussed, the sodium channels, they exist in 3 states: resting state, open state and inactivated state. Open state is nothing but the activated state. Usually, depolarization is required for a channel to get converted from resting to open state. This is the usual process. In case of maintained depolarization, whenever due to abnormality, if there is maintained depolarization, as in case of ischemic muscle, it allows the channels to change more slowly from open to inactivated state. This usually occurs in the diseased condition. Whenever there is maintained depolarization, as in case of ischemic muscle, the channels change more slowly from open to inactivated state. And repolarization is required for the channel to come to resting state so that it again gets excited and it can get open in order for the cycle to continue. So, since additional repolarization is required, more frequently the channels are activated, greater will be the degree of block produced by class 1 drugs because they act mostly on the open and inactivated states. Class 1 drugs, they act mostly on the open and inactivated states and they do not act on the resting state of sodium channel. For that reason, use-dependent blockade is seen in class 1 drugs. Coming to drugs, class 2 drugs, they mainly act on the inactivated state of sodium channels. This is important point. Whereas class 1A and 1C, these are the subclassifications, they act on the open state. And none of the drug acts on the resting state of the sodium channel. This is only about class 1 antiarrhythmic drugs. Coming to subclassification, subclass 1A. As we have discussed, they moderately decrease the rate of phase 0 depolarization and they act mainly on the open state of sodium channel. They are called as open state sodium channel blockers. They have little effect on the resting channels. Additional feature of 1A, that is, they act as potassium channel blockers by delaying the repolarization. By delaying repolarization, they prolong the action potential duration. APD means action potential duration and also prolongation of QT interval in ECG. Thus, the effective refractive period (EPR) prolongation occurs. This decreases the conductivity due to delayed subsequent depolarization and increases the refractiveness. Coming to the drug, quinidine. Quinidine comes under class 1A. Quinidine shows various actions because of its various features. First one is it blocks sodium channels in open state. By blocking the sodium channels, it reduces the automaticity and phase zero depolarization. And because of its anti-vagal action, it enhances the prolongation of atrial effective refractory period and minimizes the disparity or unsimilarity of refractive period in the atrial fibers. And because of its potassium channel blocking tendency, it prolongs the action potential duration. And because of its effect on the recovery of sodium and potassium channels, it lengthens the effective refractive period. And one more important point is due to weak alpha adrenergic blockage and direct cardiac depression, it causes fall in BP. This is a major side effect of quinidine. Due to its weak alpha adrenergic blockage and direct cardiac depression, it causes fall in BP. And at higher concentration, it can also block L-type calcium channels. So these are the various actions of quinidine drug, which is a prototype of class 1A antiarrhythmic drugs. As we have discussed, it is derived from cinchona plant and it also has an antivagal action. It blocks the myocardial sodium channels in the open state, reduces the automaticity on rate of phase zero depolarization. At higher concentration, it inhibits L-type calcium channels. And one more important point is it decreases the availability of sodium channels and delays its reactivation. Coming to the adverse effects, they are nausea and vomiting, and even diarrhea, hypotension, which results due to fall in BP, and also hypoglycemia may occur, and the myocardial depressant action may precipitate cardiac failure in patients with low cardiac reserve. And overdose causes synchronism. The various effects are or side effects are tinnitus, vertigo, deafness, headache, visual disturbance, and mental changes. And it also decreases the renal clearance of digoxin and biliary clearance of digitoxin, thereby precipitating the digitalis toxicity. These are the various adverse effects of quinidine. Coming to the uses. Quinidine is mostly used for atrial and ventricular arrhythmias, but nowadays it is seldom used because of its adverse effects such as risk of torsidis depointis, sudden cardiac arrest or ventricular fibrillation, idiosyncratic angioedema and vascular collapse, thrombocytopenia, etc. And quinidine, it is a dextroisomer of quinine, which is an anti-malarial drug. And as its isomer, quinidine is used as a parenteral alternative for quinine because of its anti-malarial activity. This is also an important point. Now coming to next drug of class 1A, it is disopyramide. It has prominent cardiac depressant action and anticholinergic action, but it does not have alpha adrenergic blocking action. This is important point. Disopyramide, it does not have alpha adrenergic blocking action. It has no effect on the sinusate, but direct depressant action and antivagal action is seen. Coming to the adverse effects, less gastrointestinal effects are seen, but prominent anticholinergic side effects such as dry mouth, constipation and urinary retention are seen with disopyramide. And one more thing is it has a risk of torsidis depointis. And the depression of cardiac contractility is more prominent. Coming to the uses, it is mainly used to treat ventricular arrhythmias and it is the second line of drug in the prevention of recurrences of ventricular arrhythmias. It is used to treat vagal mediated atrial fibrillation, and also symptomatic relief in hypertrophic cardiac myopathy with left ventricular outflow obstruction is also seen. Coming to the next drug, that is procainamide. It is an orally active amide derivative of procaine, which is a local anesthetic agent. And one more important point is it undergoes metabolism in the liver by acetylation and results in acetyl procainamide, which is an active metabolite which has no sodium channel blocking property. And acetyl procainamide which is a metabolite of procainamide, it has no sodium channel blocking property but blocks the potassium channels and prolongs the repolarization. And this is responsible for the torsidus depointis occurring in procainamide toxicity. The active metabolite is responsible for the torsidus depointis occurring in procainamide toxicity. Procainamide is less effective in suppressing ectopic automaticity than quinidine. It has no antivagal action. And weaker depressant of cardiac contractility and AV conduction is seen. And procainamide is not an alpha blocker and it causes less fall in BP. Only at higher doses fall in BP is seen, which is also due to ganglionic blockage. This is also an important point. Procainamide as such, it has not got any adrenergic blocking properties, but hence it causes less fall in BP, but at higher concentration or higher doses, fall in BP is seen, and this is also due to ganglionic blockage. Coming to adverse effects, the GI tolerance is better in case of procainamide, but nausea and vomiting occur. Long-term use of high doses causes systemic lupus erythematosus in slow acetylators. And cardiac toxicity and the ability to cause torsidus depointis are also seen. Other side effects such as hallucination, mental confusion, weakness are seen at higher doses. Flushing and hypotension are seen in case of rapid intravenous injection. Coming to the uses of procainamide, it is used to treat ventricular tachycardias, SVTs, and prevention of ventricular fibrillation. So this is the overall drugs of class 1A. Quinidine, procainamide, and disopyramide. Quinidine has alpha blocking property, it has a risk of torsidus depointis, and it has also got antivagal action. When it comes to procainamide, it has no alpha blocking property, it can cause torsidus depointis, and it has no antivagal action. And disopyramide, it has no alpha blocking property and it can cause torsidus depointis and it has antivagal action. So all drugs of class 1A have a risk of torsidus depointis. Coming to the next subclassification, subclass 1B. It has a little effect or little decrease of rate of depolarization in phase 0. It blocks the sodium channels. The drugs which come under class 1B, they block the sodium channels more in inactive state than the open state, and they possess a characteristic of opening of potassium channels. Fast onset and offset kinetics are seen with class 1B drugs. They have little effect on the slow heart rate, but they show more effect on the fast heart rate. They shorten the action potential duration, reduce the refractiveness because of the opening of potassium channels, and they decrease the slope of phase 4 depolarization, and they also decrease the Vmax, and they are only used to treat ventricular arrhythmias. Lidocaine is an example of class 1B drug. It is the most commonly used local anesthetic and it is a popular antiarrhythmic used in ICUs because it has no proarrhythmic potential and it is least cardiotoxic. And it is the least cardiotoxic antiarrhythmic drugs. Coming to the mechanism of action of lidocaine, it suppresses the automaticity of ectopic foci and it enhances the phase 4 depolarization in partially depolarized or stretched Purkinje fibers. And after depolarizations are also antagonized, but the SA node automaticity is not depressed. And the rate of phase 0 depolarization, this is an important point, rate of phase 0 depolarization and conduction velocity in the AV bundle or ventricles is not decreased by the use of lidocaine. And one more important feature of lidocaine is lidocaine abbreviates or shortens the action potential duration in Purkinje fibers and ventricular muscle. But it has no effect on the action potential duration and the effective refractive period of atrial fibers. Hence, it is ineffective in treating atrial arrhythmias. And lidocaine is a blocker of inactivated sodium channels more than that of the open state. As such, it is relatively selective for partially depolarized cells and those with longer action potential duration. Hence, normal ventricular and conducting fibers are minimally affected with lidocaine, whereas damaged and depolarized fibers are significantly depressed by the use of lidocaine. Coming to the metabolism, it undergoes very high first pass metabolism and hence it is administered intravenously. And because of that, the lidocaine clearance has been used to estimate the hepatic blood flow. Coming to the uses, it is a drug of choice for ventricular arrhythmias due to digitalis toxicity. Slow IV injection is used to suppress ventricular tachycardias and to prevent ventricular fibrillation. As we have discussed earlier, it is ineffective in atrial arrhythmias. Coming to the adverse effects, excessive dose may cause neurological side effects such as drowsiness, nausea, paresthesia, blurred vision, disorientation, nystagmus, twitching and fits. And only excessive dose can cause cardiac depression and hypotension. Coming to the next drug of class 1B, it is mexiletine. It is a local anesthetic and it is orally active. It is derived from lignocaine or lidocaine. The automaticity in Purkinje fibers is reduced by decreasing the phase 4 slope and by increasing the threshold voltage. This is the main mechanism. And reducing the rate of phase 0 depolarization in ischemia by mexiletine, by reducing the rate of phase 0 depolarization in ischemia, it may convert one-way block to two-way block. Coming to the side effects of mexiletine, it is bradycardia, hypotension and accentuation of AV block may occur with IV injection of mexiletine. The neurological side effects are tremor, nausea and vomiting. Dizziness, confusion, blurred vision, ataxia can also occur. Coming to the uses, parenteral mexiletine is an alternative for lignocaine for post-infarction sinister ventricular arrhythmia. Coming to the next subclass, that is subclass 1C. It shows marked decrease in the rate of phase 0 depolarization. They are the most potent sodium channel blocking agents with prominent action on open state. They have no effect on the potassium channels and show variable effect on action potential duration. They have longest recovery times, that is greater than 10 seconds, and the drugs of this subclass have high pro-arrhythmic potential when given chronically. Even sudden deaths have occurred. Coming to the drugs, the first one is propafenone. It acts by blocking sodium channels. It depresses the impulse transmission and has a profound effect on the Purkinje fibers conduction and also accessory conduction system. It prolongs the action potential duration and has beta adrenergic blocking property. Propafenone has additional beta adrenergic blocking property and this may precipitate congestive heart failure and bronchospasm, and hence it is not suitable for patients with damaged hearts and ischemic heart disease. Coming to its pharmacokinetics, it is metabolized by CYP2D6 isoenzyme, which can have variable rates of metabolism. And the drugs such as fluoxetine, which inhibit CYP2D6, they can increase the bioavailability and plasma half-life of propafenone. Coming to the adverse effects, there are nausea and vomiting, blurred vision, constipation, and bitter taste. Coming to the uses, propafenone is used in maintaining the sinus rhythm in patients with paroxysmal atrial fibrillation. It is used for the prophylaxis of PSVT, which involves AV node or accessory pathway. It is also used to treat VES and ventricular tachycardias. Coming to the next drug of class 1C, it is flecainide. It is a prototype of class 1C drugs and it markedly delays the sodium channel recovery. Flecainide markedly delays the sodium channel recovery. It does not have any effect on the action potential duration and has got no beta-adrenergic blocking property. It can suppress VES, VT, WPV and tachycardias. It is used to prevent the recurrences of atrial fibrillation and paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia (PSVT). It is also used only when other drugs show resistance, when there is a resistance to other drugs, and only in life-threatening conditions of ventricular arrhythmias. By this, we complete the class 1 of antiarrhythmic drugs. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for further videos on pharmacology.